Hello, welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Noha Abdel Baky, and today I'm delighted to representing the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, and I'm excited to having a discussion about tech and tech careers with Mei Lin Fung, chair and co-founder of People-Centered Internet. Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech being recorded around the world between the Girls in ICT Day 2020 and the Girls in ICT Day 2021. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. In 2020, Girls in ICT Day was on the 23rd of April. The objectives of Girls in ICT Day are to help to create a global environment that empowers and encourages girls and young women to consider studies and careers in the growing field of information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, UNICC, and the Office of the UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership for gender equality in the digital age. The Youth Coalition on Internet Governance is pleased to be a partner on this session today. The goals of the series include to interest and inspire girls and younger women with information about a range of ICT careers that can be had, bring before a broader audience some of the role model women in tech, and share information about their career journeys and work. Offer diverse examples of how ICT is being used to support achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals and other UN goals. Showcase initiatives that are working with girls to support them in ICT studies or future ICT careers. Provide girls and young women in tech with the leadership opportunity to represent and promote a Girls in Tech organization with which they are involved or promoted to be on a broader international audience. To kick this session off, I'm going to introduce you to Mei Lin Fung, the chair and co-founder of People-Centered Internet, who is a role model for all girls and women in STEM and in ICT. She's the godmother of the Customer Relationship Management, CRM, now a $4 billion industry, socio-technical lead for US Federal Health Futures Initiative. She serves on several working groups on the World Economic Forum, and she represents People-Centered Internet on the UN organization equals.org and served on the World Economic Forum, Global Future Council on Digital Economy and Society. Hi, Melin. Thank you for joining us. I would like to know when and how did you get into technology?
It was 50 years ago. I was 14 years old. I read 1984 by George Orwell and Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. And somehow I realized that technology was going to make a big, big difference in the world as I was growing up. And I just decided that right there and then I was standing in the aisle of the National Library of Singapore. I was surrounded by books. And I just said, I'm going to stay on the breaking wave of technology for the rest of my life, because I think that it's both a great opportunity and a great danger. And that I knew I was a very proud young woman. I knew I could keep up. And so I decided I would be one that would keep up with technology and stay on the breaking wave, so that if there was danger, I could raise the flag and say, we should go in the way that is better for people.
We're so lucky you took this decision. So, what was your drive to study science and mathematics and then management science at the MIT?
Actually, I just like doing hard stuff. If it's hard, that's what I like to do. I was doing calculus when I was 14. In Singapore now, 97% of people do calculus. The taxi drivers in Singapore have done calculus. But I was doing calculus in Singapore. I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I found it a little difficult. In fact, I was so shocked because I got 30% out of 100%. And I thought, I've never failed in my life. Why am I failing? And then my parents went to ask my uncle, who is a professor of physics, please talk to her, find out if she can be good at this. And he talked to me and he said, no, she'll never be any good at this. And so that made me really mad. And I decided I was going to be good at it. And I became very good at it. I just refused to be summed up by my uncle saying I was no good at math. And I just did lots and lots of practice. And I found I was careless and impatient. I got the wrong answer because I'd add up two numbers and get them wrong. I was a little dyslexic. So I just decided I would do what it takes. What I learned to do when I was 14 or 15 years old, because I was so mad at my uncle, helped me to overcome any problem. Anything that has been difficult for me, I just think, oh, that's a challenge. It gives me something to work on. So that's how I became good at math, is that I failed. My uncle said I would never be good at it.
It's very inspiring. Yeah. Will you please tell us about your journey with the people-centered internet as a co-founder and a current chair?
I helped to invent CRM in 1989, which is 30 years ago. And I had seen with some concern that people had used CRM for purposes that were really bad. There were many scandals where people used technology, and because the technology, not many people knew about it, it would be used to put rules onto people that weren't necessarily a good thing. One of the most terrible scandals was Wells Fargo. They used the CRM technology and they actually hid from the board and the CEOs what was going wrong. But they used just the reports that came out of the CRM systems. And in the end, they asked the 7,000 employees to disobey the law and create new accounts for customers in order to meet their management objectives. That means people had to keep their jobs, had to do something illegal to keep their jobs. And this is what makes me so angry about CRM, that it could hide the fact that these customer accounts were signed up for, and it was actually illegal for the staff to do that, but they were asked by their managers to do it. And they were told, if you don't do it, you will lose your job. And people needed to feed their families, so they did it. For many years, technology that I helped to invent was in fact used for this terrible purpose. And I say it in a very dramatic way. For me, it was my baby. The idea of enterprise software that could help improve relationships between businesses and customers. I watched my baby become a serial killer. It was so bad that something that I helped to invent was being used to control people in terrible ways. And that made me really upset. And you can see from the story of my uncle that when I get upset, it gives me a lot of energy. So that energy, I realized that the internet would go through the same thing that CRM had gone through. CRM went through this between 1990 and about 2005, where we really started to understand this is extremely powerful technology. But if we don't have the guardrails and the governance, people can use this power in ways that are not good for people. And so I was starting to see that happen with the internet. So I went to Vint Cerf, and Vint I knew because I was part of the founding team of something he was chairing called Innovation for Jobs. And around that time, I said to him, we need to make sure that the internet is of the people, by the people, for the people, and with the people. That was why the internet was founded, just like that was why CRM was invented, was to make it better for people. But I had seen CRM be misused, and I knew that the internet was going to be misused because it was even more powerful than CRM. So I said, we have to stand up for saying there's the right things to do and there's the wrong things to do. And the people-centered internet will stand up for the right things to do.
It's very sad, but the reality is technology has two faces.
I sometimes say that I'm the godmother of CRM. And I say that because I feel the sense of stewardship and responsibility that those of us who help to create great new tools, people still listen to us because they know we were there at the beginning, right? And so I feel that just like a mother is responsible for her children and how they grow up and how they're nurtured and how they're treated will be how they treat other people in the world. I think we have to take that sense of responsibility as humans. And that's why I think it's so important that women be involved in technology, because we as women are biologically programmed to look after children and watch for the next generation. And right now, when technology is so dominated by men, that whole importance of nurturing and helping and caring, those voices, when women, and I've been in the room where I'm the only woman, I say, well, what about caring about the family? You know what the men do? They roll their eyes and they think, oh, we get enough of that at home. Don't bring it
I
in.
totally understand. Yeah, I have a 5 years old boy and I've been there. I totally understand. So speaking about that, Mei Lin, how is being a woman leader in tech?
I think because I'm an older woman now, the most important thing I can do is support younger women leaders. I think it's so important that women in tech support and help each other and go beyond the work relationships to understand that we have this common bond, which is our obligation to future generations. And so, as a woman in tech, the most important thing I can do is to support other women leaders and make sure that they have the impact that they have the potential to have, but the current environment and technology just means that it's very difficult, that all the time we feel taken advantage of or ignored. Um, I want other women in tech to know it's tough, but the women who got us the vote, it was tough for them too. And we just have to understand it's our responsibility. If we don't take this responsibility, it's postponed for more generations of women playing the role that they need to play, not just for ourselves, but for humanity. This is not about a personal ego. This is our obligation as the female members of the human species. We have to step up.
Thank you for being the role model we need to look for. Mei Lin, what do you like best about your job or about the technology?
I like being able to see the Lego blocks and think, oh, I could build this. That's what I like to see because I've been in the field for so long, over 50 years, right? I can see the Lego blocks in ways that other people don't necessarily have the history or the experience. When you can play the piano, you can listen to music and you can think, oh, I could play that piece of music, or I would like to join with others in playing music. And the excitement of playing with technology as though it's art and as though it's poetry and as though it's something that can be constructed to make lives better, that to me is exciting because unfortunately, so few people in the field of technology, primarily because there's not enough women, are there to do this. And I think I have a responsibility to show it can be done and to bring other people in to do this also. And that's what makes me happy.
It's very joyful. Will you please share an example or two of things you've done in or with tech that you're particularly proud of?
Of course, CRM. I had been working at Intel for 5 years, and I was the alpha test user for the in-house system for Intel's distributors. And Tom Siebel had this idea of CRM, and he had interviewed 35 people before he met me. And he said none of them understood what I was talking about. But when he talked about it, I thought, oh, that's just what I've been doing at Intel, except instead of distributors, it's customers. And I said, no problem, we can do this. And so literally it was as simple as that. I like to say it was a small step for me, but it was a big step for humankind to have come up with CRM, because I just took what I had already done at Intel. And at Intel, they were thinking about this. Andy Grove had a very, very good sense of forecasting, adapting to reality, adjusting so that different groups could learn together. So at Intel, when I was first asked to do a forecast for distributor sales, I said, I don't know how to forecast. They said, never mind, just start. But I did it for month after month after month with 20 other people. And every month we would present our forecast and people would ask questions. And then you'd see what other people said. And you learn from each other how to do forecasting, what you need to consider, how to do it, what works, what you forgot. And you do it over and over again. It's like music. See, I learned about business in a way that was just like learning a musical instrument. I played with a really good orchestra. So then when I went off to Oracle and they said, help us invent new kinds of music, I said, oh, I just have to remember what it was like being in the Intel orchestra. And so I was proud of that because it was really not at all writing bullet points on a piece of paper and saying phase one, phase two. It was like fun. And I interviewed the best salespeople in Oracle. And I said, how do you work? And then I put it down and I went to the developer. It was only two of us, me and the developer. And I said, let's try this. And we try it. And then we just practiced and tried. And it was just like playing music. You say, oh, okay, let's do the tune a different way. And does it work? And that was really how CRM was invented, was because a lot of people were part of a high performance team. And it was so exciting. We knew we were changing the future. It was the only job that I really had where every morning I would wake up, I can't stand being in bed anymore. I want to go to work. And for 2 years, I was in that spirit of inventing CRM with a group of people who really love their work. It was wonderful.
Working in a very healthy environment is one of the most important aspects in the career. And I really admire how you're a part of a technology that reshaped the humanity. It's amazing. Mei Lin, have you encountered any challenges along the way? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Where do I start? The first thing is to tell you that when people say to me, Mei Lin, how do you get such a thick skin? I say,
Oh,
it's all scar tissue. It's through being beaten up, being cut, being hurt, and then you recover. So the thick skin comes from that. I don't know of another way to do it. I hope that I can make it easier for people who come after me. Very often I think of the story of the Little Mermaid. When I was young, we didn't have Disney movies. We just read it in the book. And the story of the Little Mermaid was that she wanted to walk, she wanted to have legs. And they said, you can have legs, but every step you take will be like walking on swords. And for me, being a woman leader has been like that. Every step I take is like walking on swords. And you just get used to the pain and you eventually get scar tissue. It doesn't hurt so much. I went to Australia for the last year of high school. I was already good at math by that time, but the boys were very jealous. They thought girls can't do math. It was at Northmead High School in North Parramatta, and the boys didn't like me being good at math. They thought she's a freak. In fact, they used to call me the freak. And they got all the people in the school not to talk to me because I was such a freak. So me and the blind boy, we became friends because nobody else had talked to us. So that's what happened because I dared to do math when I was young. That made me stronger. That's the thing, that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So after that, most things were easy. Seriously. When
very
you,
unfortunate for them for not being friends with you. You're an amazing person.
they didn't know. They really did. I was Chinese in Australia in the 70s. I was a freak. By the way, Australia is much better than that now. Just saying.
What's a lesson that you learned along the way that you'd like to share with other girls and women?
Never give up. I know that you expected me to say more, but you should take on things that you really care about. Then you should never give up. But if you
Mhm.
take on things that are just peripheral or not that important to you, but you encounter obstacles, you will give up. And that's not good for you. You develop muscles for becoming stronger if you give up at the earliest setback. So I take a lot out of being a pianist. In learning music, there's something called sight reading, where you get a piece of music and you're supposed to play it without having ever seen it before. And any musician knows that sight reading is hard. And often you can't do it right because you're having to do it spontaneously. But I think in business, we seem to expect everybody to sight read. And if they make the slightest mistake, it's over. You're no good. But any musician knows sight reading is just the first time. Well, I learned the piano this way: left hand slowly, right hand slowly, both hands very slow, and then get it better. And I know that to do anything well, you have to start slow. And you can sometimes sight read, but you never take that if you made one mistake in sight reading, that you're not a good musician. But I see that happening to a lot of women where they try something and the people say, that's no good. And they don't say, but it's the first time I ever tried that. I have a lot to learn. I need to practice harder. I need to work out what I didn't know. All of that is part of learning anything. You can't start a marathon without practicing. So how come women are told, oh, you have to do a career and you make a mistake, it's all over? A marathon, you have to warm up, you have to go shorter distances, you have to develop stamina, you have to learn to eat right, you have to make all kinds of changes for yourself before you can actually run a marathon. And that's true for business as well, for math, for science, for anything that's worth doing. You have to be patient with yourself, compassionate, and care enough about the good that you can do in the world that you pick yourself up and you never, ever give up.
These are the best career advices I've ever heard. Actually, that was my next question. I was about to ask you about the best career or tech advice you would give to girls or young women in tech.
Every setback should be spurring you on. Every single thing that's knock you down is something you should take as make why you should succeed. Never give up.
Great advice. Thank you, Mei Lin.
So now I get to ask you questions.
Great. Fair enough.
Tell me, what do you do nowadays, Noha?
Okay, I work at Dell Technologies as a senior storage support engineer. I've been working there for more than 5 years. I was graduated in 2014 with a bachelor degree in communication systems engineering and electronics. And I was an intern for 2 months in Microsoft, and then I joined Orange Business Services as an incident manager for a year, and then I joined Dell Technologies. I've been there since then, and I've been involved in internet governance spaces since 2017 through the Internet Society first, and then I joined different organizations. I received some fellowships to attend schools on internet governance or the global and regional internet governance forums and other internet related events. So when I heard about your organization, People Centered Internet, I was very relating to it, like talking about the principles of the internet and the human rights aspect of the internet is very interesting to me.
What part of governance do you care about?
Youth and women participation,
Mhm.
because they're very underrepresented and their voices are not heard.
What do you think should be done?
Advocacy is very powerful. So online and offline advocacy, many advocacy campaigns to be done, but we need youth and women need support from the different stakeholders, from governments, from private sector, not only civil society.
I am going to tell a story. As you can see from my own trajectory, self-reliance is a very big part of how I work. My mother taught me to be fiercely independent. She really said, you cannot expect other people to help you. And she
Yeah.
brought me up in that way. And so I actually truly believe that if youth and women are to move ahead in technology, we have to do it ourselves. Waiting to be helped. I'm sorry. It's like I'm sorry. Maybe we shouldn't film this. It's like a joke. We have to help ourselves. The help is not coming from outside us.
I agree, totally agree.
And so for advocacy, it's about we are self reliant, we are strong, we can do it. And organizing so that we make the gains, we get into the rooms where decisions are being made. And it isn't just about storming the rooms, it's about understanding what does it take to get in the room. And sometimes it's about organizing so that one of us can get in the room. It's not about each of us working by ourselves. It's about organizing together. And so what I want to say to you about internet governance is that you'll only get as far as you can manage to make the movement on your own. Working to get other people's help is a waste of time. It's not going to happen that way. They'll support once you make the movement, but you have to make the push.
Yeah, that's why I joined the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance as a steering committee member and Africa representative this year. And we are working with other youth initiatives to make these voices more organized and have some unified voices or messages.
So, with that unified voice and message, may I give you some counsel from my perspective?
Sure.
The COVID pandemic is going to drive digital transformation around the world in a very accelerated way. If youth do not speak up to help to lead the way as digital natives, you will have lost the greatest opportunity of your lifetime. That means that the next few months and years count the most. And you have to organize. You can't wait for anything. You have to step forward and say, this is what we need. And you have to get the support of people to follow your leadership, not to wait for theirs.
I totally agree. With the crisis come the opportunity.
Yeah, there's a great quote that I heard that I'm telling everybody now. Vladimir Lenin said, sometimes nothing happens for decades, and sometimes decades happen in weeks.
Yeah.
These are the weeks that decades are happening. If you don't seize it, shame on you.
Yeah.
But you
Totally
don't have to
agree.
do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
All the people who care, and you don't know how much power you have. Power is there. Look at me. Okay, now it looks as though have so much status and so on. No, I'm under 5 foot tall. I'm Chinese in a Western culture. Every single piece of influence that I have, I fought for. Nothing came easy, and nothing will come easy. You just have to think it's worth it. And when I was at business school at MIT, everybody was so tall because tall young men get into MIT. And I'd go to these cocktail hours and I'd have to put my arm in front of my face because people's elbows would just bash into my face because they didn't even know I was there. So in the end, you know what I did?
Not
I
bad.
pulled up a chair and I stood on the chair and talked. So what makes you strong?
I'm fearless. I don't fear experiencing new things. I look at things from different perspectives. So I feel like I always have a different point of view.
How does that make you strong?
Makes me different. So then it makes me strong.
What do you want to be strong for?
for the next generation, to make my son proud of me, and for making the next generation proud of me, and more empowered to do different things. You know, the next generation is there here. I want to be part of building and reshaping the future.
Do you find that when you listen to other people, that helps you or hurts you, or both? Tell me some instance when you listen to other people and it hurts you, and then tell me when you listen to other people and it helps you.
Both of them happened. For example, that when people told me that I cannot pursue my career or my passion and being a mom at the same time, it was the biggest challenge in my life, I think. And at the same time, listening to people helped me a lot, because many of them were encouraging, many of them offered to help, offered to collaborate, offered to empower each other. So I'm glad to have a network of people who push me forward, people who encourage me. I learned to push the negative people away.
So, what are your plans? What are your next steps?
I'm exploring many possibilities or many opportunities. I'm considering applying for my master degree in tech policy, for instance, or tech management. I'm still exploring the possibilities. And I'm trying to stick around in internet governance spaces, because I found my passion there. So each year I explore many new doors or many opportunities to tackle. It's because of maintaining a strong network with people and keep in touch with them. I'm trying to be an activist online and offline. So as I was an online activist, I'm trying to find local opportunities here in Egypt to help women and girls to pursue a career in ICT and STEM. So there's a lot to do. Let me say I don't have an accurate plan or a detailed plan, but I have a big vision of many ideas or plans in my mind.
Yeah, yeah. I think keeping that big vision is really good, because they say that luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And so by keeping that big vision, then when the opportunity comes, you're prepared to seize it. And I found that time is one of my strongest weapons or tools, that many people think if it can't happen right away, I'll give up. But I find I never give up. So I just wait for the right time. And that is a kind of a nice perspective that you might want to consider having, that it's very good to have all of these plans, and when the right opportunity arises, you can just seize it because you're prepared. Now I want to ask the big question: what is the difference you want to make in your life?
I don't want the knowledge or the experience I acquired to die with me. I want to exchange them with youth and women, and I want to empower other people to make a change, or to drive a change. I want to see a real change in my country, in my region, in the world.
That's so wonderful. I want you to think about what I'm about to say. At this time of the pandemic, there is an internet meme that's going around, because many people who don't know how to cook are now finding they have to cook. And the statement is, I hate it when I go into my kitchen for food and all I find are ingredients. And I want to say to you, for women and youth, we have the ingredients. The ingredients are there, but we have to learn to cook. We have to use the assets that are all around us and put them together in new ways, and reach out to people from far away or near who can help. That we sometimes close our eyes to the ingredients that are already there. And you know, a very good cook can take whatever ingredients and cook something. And what I want to encourage you, Noha, to do is that you can cook the future that you want, and you can help other people learn to cook also. But you have to show the example. You have to not go in and say, oh, I could just make this cake, I just need eggs. I would do this, but I don't have that. You just have to say, I'm going to do with what I have. And I want to leave you with a quote from Helen Keller. Helen Keller was deaf and blind and could not speak as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only one, but I will do the something that I can do. And she changed the world. And I think that no one has an excuse. If Helen Keller said, I'm one, I'm only one, but I will do the something I can do. If each of us take that attitude, we can change the world. You can change the world. You have no excuse. All the ingredients are there. Start cooking.
I really like the metaphor of cooking and ingredients. It's totally true. Thank you. Thank you, Mei Lin. And that wraps our session today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. Thank you so much, Mei Lin. I really, really enjoyed our chat today. And thank you for your time. And thank you so much for our viewers for watching.
My pleasure.